Hello, good morning to you all.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning. So I think 80% people have joined. Most of you have joined, right? So, just to recapitulate, we are doing bioprospecting, and in that we are looking for module 3. In that, we first learn the methodology. And we are actually looking for a new product which is socio-economically beneficial. So we collected the soils from extreme environment, we brought it to the lab. Then we did the enrichment using the two different method, diffusion and hollow fiber. Followed by that, we on a selected media, we isolated around 100 strains. Then we set up a screening model, a very important model in that, just example like petroleum degrading, amylase, antiviral, some of the examples we took, and we understood what is a screening model. So any product which we want, we can really now get it, and we are working focusedly on to getting one kind of product that can be enzymes. Let's put it for example. Yeah, even we discussed about proteases and lipases importance in a washing machines and that kind of washing machine powders and all that. So then we moved further out of that using that screening model. Out of 100 organisms, we selected the best 5, and out of that best 2 will be taken up for the further large scale production. Yeah. And in the large scale production, in the last class, what we learned is submerged fermentation, that a fermentation tank. We learned about the fermentation tank and little bit exposure onto the media. Does this bring you back onto the platform? I'm sure, because you all are learning right from a plant to genomics to proteomics to multiple things, even English and French. So that's why I thought that it is good to take 5-10 minutes and recapitulate. Any questions on up to now? Because today we'll move further.
Sir, no question.
No questions? Okay. Devanshi is fine. I think, because it's not an open class, I cannot see. So I think if one or two people, if anybody has a question, take a 5 minutes to recapitulate the thing. That will help you to come back to this platform of manufacturing the biological products, what we are learning today. I'll wait till 10:30. Any question, anything, I'm just coolly holding it. Okay, you all are getting the notes I think I've been sending, right? Slides and some of the.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, fine.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
I have a question.
Correct. Go ahead.
So, sir, we studied two methods. One, the basic one, and the other was metagenomics.
Yes.
So, sir, like in the basic one, we get to know that okay, our product is better. But in case of metagenomics, we'll be able to get to know that our product is better. If yes, then how?
Yes, good question. See, when you said a older method, that's a classical method that you have properly understood. So you will isolate 100 strains, and those 100 strains you will screen using your screening model. Yeah, and simple amylase model. I'll just, for an example, explain you. Then you will check how you'll check those 100 strains. You will put it onto starch-containing plate, and then you will pour iodine and see that if a bigger zone of clearance is there, that means starch is broken down more by that organism. Correct? That much you understood in a classical method, right?
Yes, sir.
Now coming to metagenomics, where you have slight confusion. So in metagenomics, what we do, we isolate an DNA from the nature, correct? Then we do the either sequencing or PCR based multiple libraries. And as I explained you in classical method, maximum library we can have at a 1% working can be having around 100 to 10,000. While in metagenomics, a DNA library can be created within a few minutes using a PCR of 10,000 plus very easily by a single individual. That part you understood. Then we transfer this 10,000 DNA into a separate E. coli cell. correct? Expression vector, which is called as, correct? And then we try to express. So when we are talking about this expression, what expression we are talking about? Say, for example, if we are looking for an amylase, what we'll do is this 100 strains or 1000 strains of E. coli where we have transferred our novel DNA, which we have amplified. Each strain we will put it onto a starch containing plate, and then we will pour iodine and see. Very similar. See, till the E. coli transformation, the steps are very different, right? When it comes to that transformation, cells are available. The whole viable cell is available in front of you, either in a classical method isolated from a nature, or in a metagenomics transformed E. coli cell with your DNA. It goes into the same screening model. Followed by that, the whole process remains the same. Does that answer your question, Shakti?
Yes, sir. So the last steps are similar to
Yes. It's only like, the directly isolation DNA metagenomics advantages are that look at the quickness, then the number of hit chances increases because it is less laborious, and most important, all the cells in the nature cannot be cultivated, correct? It's not easy to cultivate something in a laboratory from an Antarctica soil or an volcano material, correct? Because that kind of temperature, media, and still I think, yeah, but isolation of DNA is possible. And then you are using that isolated DNA to transform into an E. coli, which you can easily cultivate. And now you are looking for the DNA which you have transformed into E. coli, whether it is getting expressed to produce the protein or an material which of your interest. Yeah. So the process remains the same.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You have still 1 more minute if anybody has, otherwise we'll move forward. I think fermenter tank, I'll just, till you all are thinking and still you can come up with the question. Just to recapitulate in the last class, I think we did it very well, but still I will tell you, it's a tank, it's a jacketed vessel. Jacket is required for manipulating the temperature, whether it is 121 degrees for autoclaving or whether it is maintenance of 35 degrees centigrade or 25 degrees centigrade during the production. It has different ports, inlet port on the top, then outlet port at the bottom, because once the fermentation is over, everything will take it out. Yeah, with the cells and the broth, we call it, correct? The fermentation media, we discussed little bit that it should be cheapest the possible. The fermentation tank should have impellers, the motor containing, so the mixing can take place. I mean, impeller blades were there. Yeah, impeller blades were there. Remember? There was a motor, and then we had a different ports for pH, temperature, nutrient. The final product formation can also be checked through the ports. These are some of the important aspect of fermentation vessel. After this fermentation vessel, you have understood. We discuss about the media, that is something which we have to put, correct? If you are making curd, then milk is your media, because in milk you will be inoculating the lactic acid or your starter culture. Similarly, if we are talking about a wine or a beer production, I think again your barley or grapes will be your media. Is it clear up to here now? So, okay, now we'll move forward, correct? Now, some terminologies we will be using will be more technical terminology. So, we are first talking, we'll talk about upstream and downstream. Now, these are the two words which you are now today learning. Upstream is what you know, the media preparation, like in now I'll not repeat about isolation of strain and selection, correct? Now I will talk about the fermenter. Now your fermenter is ready. You are going to put a media. A media can be molasses, it can be any, it should be carbon nitrogen balanced source, which is economically viable. So you'll fill up your fermenter using this media, you will sterilize it. Once you have sterilized, you will inoculate it, correct? Inoculation of the organism of your interest, which you are sure will be producing the required product. So can everybody can see the screen?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
sir.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I understood. I have not done the sharing. Now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So, can anybody start? I think any one of you can start reading the left-hand side top, what you are reading there.
Sir, can I?
Yeah, please. Anyone. Whosoever.
Upstream process. First, microorganism. Second, initial isolation. Third, strain improvement. Fourth, production strain.
Yeah. Just hold, right? Then I'll explain you all. This particular. Yeah, I think this is self-explainable because I think last many classes we are discussing about this. So if the question comes today, more of an exam point of view, because these are very favorite questions in your BSc papers. What describe upstream processing? Yeah. So in upstream processing, can you see this microorganism and initial isolation? I think this using a methodology, we have learned a lot about it. Initial isolation, correct? You got it? What is this initial isolation which we have been talking last 3-4 classes? So you have already initially isolated your strain, followed by you have done the screening and you know which is the best strain. But there is always, in a fermentation process, when you are any plant, anywhere, anything, any process you are working, correct? You continuously try to improve. So once you have isolated out of that 100, you know these are my best 2 strain, you continuously keep on improving it for your product. If it is producing 5 milligram per liter using particular media, you would try to see that if it is producing 15 milligram, then my whole thing will become economically very viable. I can sell the material cheaply, I mean economically into the market, and I can make more money. So the improvement of strain is a continuous process in any fermentation plant or any fermentation research lab. Any confusion or it's lucidly going? In my mind, it is lucidly going, but it should be, you all also should feel it is lucidly going. I want to adapt it as a story kind of thing, correct? So now we have a production strain. Yeah, we production strain up to here, though we have number of time talking about, correct? Now we'll come to constraint little later. Start reading, the same person who was reading, please start reading on a right hand side, fermentation raw material.
Sources of carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur, minor elements, trace elements, growth factors, water, etc. Availability, cost, stability, and pre-treatment and sterilization requirements.
Okay. Yeah, this is very self-explanatory. Now we are talking about a media which we will select for production of our compound of interest, and that we are going to fill up into the tank. That also falls under upstream. So up to now, whatever we have been talking, I'm just trying to tell you, it falls into upstream. So if the upstream process question is of 15 mark, then you can start right from a soil collection methodologies and further down. If it is 8 mark or 5 mark question, then you can start draw this diagram and start explaining very shortly two lines about microorganism, initial isolation, strain improvement. This is fermentation raw material. Have you all understood fermentation? Because last time we talked about fermentation raw material, but still I will again repeat it. See, the best carbon, see any life, any organism which want to grow will require a carbon source and a nitrogen source. These are the basic fundamental thing for any life. And once in a fermentation media, what we try to see is the best carbon source we will give and the best nitrogen source. Now there is optimization is required because best carbon source can be glucose and the best nitrogen source can be beef extract or it can be ammonium salt. So we have to see that because we are again talking about a very applied kind of science where we are looking for a cost benefit ratio, and the product has to be economically viable. So what we do is, instead of glucose, we just start thinking that what else I can give. Okay, I can give maize. Maize will have a lot of starch. I can give in a carbon source. What is another carbon source? Okay, a sugar mill. A sugar mill will have an waste. What will be the sugar mill waste? Will be molasses. You know, the one which comes out after it has been extracted out. So again, there is a lot of carbon source. So these are some of the cheaper carbon source we look for. Starch. Starch can come from maize if you are in US. If you are in down south India, you will say that tapioca starch is good enough. Yeah. So similarly, when it comes to nitrogen source, it can be soybean meal. Yeah, before beef extract is a very expensive item. So that's why you will try to reduce the cost. But nitrogen source is there. Does it making complicated, or it's clear in your mind that what now we are trying to understand the media, the one which will be filled up into our fermenter tank?
Sir, it's clear.
Oh, good. So then we can go more. So now, once carbon and nitrogen is fixed, what you need is trace elements, because life also needs, you will understand, every enzyme is requiring a trace element. It can be sulfur, phosphorus, yeah. And everything at the end, the whole content will be dissolved in a water. It's always water. You will dissolve everything into a water because water is the best media, and that in that you will put your culture. That is microorganism, and then you will start stirring, you will start maintaining the temperature and start looking for a production. So this is what the whole thing is. And now we'll read about constraints. So all the process will have constraint, correct? And every constraint has to be overcome. One of the constraint I told you is carbon selection of carbon nitrogen source. Yeah, that is nutrition requirement. Constraint can be nutrition requirement, and which has to be optimally suitable for a product. See, like if amylase is a very, very cheap product, correct? Amylase has to be sold at very, very low cost. And in that scenario, you have to be very careful about your initial cost of media. And your other energy source, you cannot do much about it, correct? Stirring has to be required. So all those things are fine, but at least media cost is in your hand. And that is why, but if you are like very high-end product like a antiviral compound, which you can sell it at a very high cost, then you will not be so much constrained with the cost of nutrients. So one of the one of the constraint is nutrition requirement. Another is metabolic control. Then you can understand shear sensitivity. Metabolic control, I think that is right now we'll not get it into it because then it will be too complicated. So we'll talk about more practical and applied things, shear sensitivity. When you are stirring, somebody asked me also, I think during that class, that when you are really stirring like with such a blade, does the organism die? I think that question came. See, my memory, I think, did it came, right? Somebody asked, definitely.
Yes,
Am I
sir,
right?
I did.
Good.
About cells.
Correct. So, that's a sheer sensitivity. Now your question is getting little, we are going into little depth, and I'll tell you. It doesn't kill, but what can happen is this heavy stirring can really change the way the organism grows. The whole growth pattern can change. It will not kill the organism, but the whole growth pattern change. And that is called the shear sensitivity, because the shear force is going to come from the blades. And that can have an impact on your organism. And that is why you have to adjust the stirring speed. And that is going to again affect your oxygen transfer, because one of the reason for stirring, you have understood, the oxygen which was coming from down need to be fully mixed in the media, and all the media components should remain in an uniform in all that 100 liter or 10 liter tank. Correct? So shear sensitivity is one of the thing. Temperature optima, as I told you, that most of the time we talk about 25 to 35. That's a big range, correct? Some of the fungi, if you are working, they would like to have 25 to 27. And when the whole fermentation takes place, lot of carbon is utilized, nitrogen is utilized, and that is why, and you are imagining that we are right now even talking about a pilot is 100 to 1000 liter. The whole, so much of energy generated will generate a heat, and that heat need to be cooled down using the jacket cooling. So temperature maintenance is another constraint. Then oxygen and carbon dioxide effect and requirement of genetic stability. I think you at this point in time, I think, we'll just stay with, I'll explain genetic stability, but yeah. Because we talked about we talked about metagenomics. So if your strain has come through metagenomics, you have to be really careful that that plasmid or the DNA which you have transformed into that cell should remain consistently there and keep on expressing. And that is where the genetic stability plays a role. Yeah. And viscosity effect, as I told you, oxygen transfer, as the organism will grow, it will form a viscous, it is almost getting from a very nice liquid. As the day and hours passes, the organism will grow. And if it is a fungus, it will, like, the whole tank will be full of fungus. So you can imagine that how viscous it will become. So these are some of the silent feature of upstream production. And now here you can see the same tank slightly. I mean, I have brought it little, cut it down, but you know now what is happening. So after all these constraints are solved, your media is completely ready. Media development we talked about, and then now you are ready with a production media, and you have inoculated your organism, and you have now waited for 7 days for your product to form. With screening model and using the probes, product checking probes, you have checked that in my tank, production tank, fermentation tank, my important the requirement product is ready. This is what is upstream. So see, I can understand you all are hearing for the first time, and I've done half of my life. So there is a big gap between us. So please help me in filling up this gap. If you have not understood, if you ask some question that I'll understood that what you have not understood. Take 5 minutes to see this chart. I'll share this whole PPT with you today, but first see that cooling. किसी को क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहा है कि ये प्रोपोगेशन मीडिया, मेंटेनेंस मीडिया, इसके बारे में तो मैंने कुछ बोला ही नहीं. देन स्टार्टर कल्चर नहीं एक्सप्लेन किया. I was expecting that you will have some questions.
Sir, actually, I was just about to ask what those are.
Yeah. So, just imagine if 10 liters tank, if I am going to inoculate. अच्छा, ऐसे सोचो, पहले तो आप आपका नॉर्मल थिंग सोचो कि आपके घर में आप जब कर्ड, आई टेक इट फॉर ग्रांटेड दैट यू ऑल नो हाउ टू मेक द कर्ड. सो हम कितना 1 लीटर मिल्क लेते होंगे, फिर 500 ml मिल्क लेकर के उसमें 2 full spoon ऑफ कर्ड डाल देते हैं, करेक्ट. सो इट विल बी, दैट इज योर मीडिया, मिल्क इज योर मीडिया, एंड योर स्टार्टर कल्चर is from your curd. But now imagine that if you have 100 liter of milk, 100 liter milk का कर्ड बनाना है, तो अब क्या करेंगे? आपके घर में जितना भी कर्ड होगा, 1 cup और half a cup, वो तो sufficient नहीं होगा. So what you will first make is, say first you will make 1 liter of curd using your classical method, like एक छोटे से vessel में. So you will take a milk 1 liter and put 2 to 4 full spoon of your curd, and you'll wait. You will wait for this 1 liter to form a curd. Then after 24 hours, from this 1 liter, you will make 5 liter. 5 liter मीडिया लेके ये पूरा 1 liter 5 liter मिल्क लेके ये पूरा 1 liter कर्ड उसमें डाल करके 5 liter कर्ड बनाओगे. And then this 5 liter curd, you will put it into 100 liter milk to make a curd. Does this absolutely clear in your mind? Suppose if I take 100 liter milk and put 2 full spoon of, or whatever amount of curd I have, 1 cup in my house, and if I put it, never that milk will get spoiled and you will never get a good quality of curd. Naturally, because your starter culture is getting diluted out in that 100 liter, and it is not able to grow properly, neither utilize at an speed at which we need. So that is this becoming clear? Then the whole concept is very easy. If this concept is clear, then we can easily move forward.
Yes, sir.
So that's where, you know, your starter culture. So this is what smaller scale to bigger scale and bigger scale to little bigger scale, and then directly putting into fermenter. This is called as a propagation of a starter culture. Up, say for example, amylase producing strain हमारे lab में है. What we will do is, first we will put it into 500 ml flask. Make a 500 ml. We will let this culture, which we have identified as a best amylase producer, from our stock. So we will first make 500 ml. From this 500 ml, we will transfer 10% into a 5 liter tank. Yeah. So 10% of 1% to 10% we can transfer into the next scale up. So what right now we are just, this process is called as an inoculum buildup. The word itself says inoculum buildup. Correct? जैसे हमने मिल्क की बात की, वैसे now we are talking in a lab. 500 ml का 500 ml flask. From that we are putting into 5 liter flask, and from 5 liter we can put it into 50 liter fermenter, and that is called as a starter culture propagation. Does that become clear in your mind?
Yes, sir.
So, propagation medium. Now, if you come to media development, propagation medium is more or less same as a fermentation medium. So we need not worry about that. But once here on the right hand side, you see a maintenance medium, a very important aspect. You know, they are directly related to, on the left hand side, you are seeing a strain improvement and a production strain that is consistently, you can see the arrow. It's like a circle which is going. Your strain improvement, you use it as a production strain. Again, you go for a strain improvement. That is how your production strain you keep on improving, right? That is directly related to maintenance medium. Once you find out a very good strain, what you want to preserve it for another 20-30 years, correct? So there are multiple maintenance media. It can be lyophilization in a skim milk. It can be in a DMSO. You can put it a 5% DMSO and put it at -70 degrees centigrade, or you can continuously transfer from one slant to another slant. I mean media, one media tube to another media tube. We call it slant because we grow it in a slanted form, the media, and then we put the culture. So did you understood the importance of maintenance medium, starter culture propagation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is good to hear. Yes, sir. अभी मुझे आप में से 23 people, is there anybody take 5 minutes and have a guts to say that if this is a 10 to 15 mark question, you will not be able to answer? ऐसा कोई है? तो मैं फिर से समझाऊंगा कि कैसे इसी स्लाइड को हम 15 मार्क क्वेश्चन में कन्वर्ट कर सकते, आंसर में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं.
Sir, just for drawing this much of a flowchart, how much mark will be?
2 marks. No, if you draw this chart in the beginning of your answer sheet, you will get 5 marks out of 15. Correct? तो नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या करना है आपको? मैं वही बताना चाहता था कि 15 मार्क, because invariably, you know what I've seen in your answer sheets when I go for checking, डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट डिस्क्रिप्शन होता है। यदि 15 मार्क क्वेश्चन है तो ये माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म, द फर्स्ट पॉइंट, माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म कहां से आया, फ्रॉम वेयर दिस माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म केम, बायोप्रोस्पेक्टिंग मेथडोलॉजी, correct, soil collection, bringing it to the lab, enrichment. So then you will, after drawing this, you will put microorganism and under that the description of bioprospecting methodology आएगी। उसके बाद इनिशियल स्क्रीनिंग एंड स्ट्रेन इंप्रूवमेंट के अंदर स्क्रीनिंग मॉडल्स विच यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, करेक्ट, एंड मेटाजीनोमिक्स के थ्रू आप बात करोगे कि हाउ इट वाज ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड एंड दिस स्ट्रेन वाज क्रिएटेड। So strain was created, initial isolate, and the strain improvement through metagenomics. Correct? Then you will talk about the fermentation media. In that we discuss very detailed what are the carbon source, nitrogen source, what are the common carbon source, what are the common nitrogen source. Now can you make it a 2 full skip? Then we talked about, okay, then you draw a fermenter picture. Then you talk about this constraint. Constraint के ऊपर ही आप 2 पैराग्राफ तो लिख सकते हो, as I discuss. If you are remembering and if you are making small notes for yourself, then you can make it, correct. Nutrition requirement. Then we talk about shear sensitivity, temperature maintenance, oxygen carbon effect. That much I think I expect that you will make small notes and it should be. Is that the person who asked the question? मेरे को यहाँ नाम नहीं दिखता because I am right now looking at a screen. So does that now give some confidence कि 15 मार्क का हम कर सकते हैं कि नहीं?
Yes, sir. Sir, also you can keep the Teams tab open in the on your screen, minimized.
अच्छा
नीचे आ जाएगा।
ठीक है, ओके, हाँ मैं कर देखता हूँ, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं है। आई थिंक राइट नाउ तो आई एम कंफर्टेबल। So is there anybody have any kind of question? Because you know ये question invariably एग्जाम में होता है अपस्ट्रीम का, अपस्ट्रीम से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन डाउनस्ट्रीम का होता है, और डाउनस्ट्रीम इज अ बिग प्रोसेस, but that we will do maybe in the next class. I don't want to mix up downstream and upstream. I'll just introduce you today to downstream and then we will do it in next class. But इसी के ऊपर कुछ थोड़े क्वेश्चन पूछ लोगे तो मेरे को क्लैरिटी हो जाएगी कि चलो अब now we can move to downstream.
Sir, can you repeat shear sensitivity and genetic stability?
Yeah, shear sensitivity is related to the mixing of media, correct. You are using an force, correct. You are using electric force to rotate those blades, correct. Which blades in a fermenter, like you have to now start, I don't have a diagram, I cannot keep all the diagram, but if you should remember the last time's fermenter diagram, a fermenter vessel was having an impeller. You remember the red color motor was there and then there was a rod coming with the blades in it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this will create a force, correct? Electric force will get converted into rotary force, and rotary force is going to create an energy which is going to be useful in mixing the media. But while mixing the media, you'll end up really affecting the organism's growth pattern. Just imagine a fungus which is growing, used to grow in filaments like a big filament, and these blades keep on cutting it. Yeah, because once it come in the vicinity of blade, it will be cut, and that is how it will not die. Yeah, fungus will not die by cutting, but its growth pattern will change now. Right from that big filamentous fungus, it is going to start growing in a ball's form, like it will round shape. It starts growing, and that is what called as a shear sensitivity. A change in shape and metabolic process of an organism in response to the mixing force of an blades impeller blades is called as a shear sensitivity.
Okay, sir.
And the next was what you wanted to go further?
Genetic stability.
Genetic stability. So can you little bit tell me, have you understood metagenomics?
Yes, sir.
तो क्या करते हैं metagenomics में बताओ?
Sir, in metagenomics, we first take the suppose we have taken the microorganism from any like site, and then I think we then isolate the DNA, and then we do blast to find out our genome, and then we as you said, we express it in E. coli.
Perfect. I think perfect. I think here up to here you are perfect. So I think here further I'll explain, correct? Because this genetic stability. Now you are having an E. coli strain with the DNA which is getting expressed, and this DNA is expressing what? The product of your requirement. It can be enzyme, it can be antiviral compound, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Now, you know, because in E. coli, this is not a native DNA of E. coli, correct? You have transformed it. Transformation can take place using, let me very simple take it, you have put it on a plasmid and you have transformed. There can be multiple transformation, but let's put it right now, transform into the plasmid. You are keep on getting your product. But you have to be very careful because this is not a native or genomic DNA. You have not introduced this DNA into genome of E. coli. It's on a plasmid, correct? A circular plasmid, which is expressing. So there is always a chance that your production strain can continuously lose this plasmid. Once it loses the plasmid, what will happen? It will not produce the product of your interest. And that is what a genetic stability. Okay?
Okay, sir. So how it can be maintained in that?
Yes. So that's again a production, that is what an improvement in a production strain. You will keep on checking using your screening model. You'll keep on taking a sample from fermenter and keep on checking. Two ways. One, you will keep on checking whether the required product is being produced by this E. coli strain. Secondly, you will do a genotypic analysis. You will purify that plasmid and keep on checking that how many plasmid copy numbers are available in this E. coli. That is how we check the genetic stability. And this is how you will be able to answer your question very nicely. Even genetic stability, is it complex? Like you take a strain, yeah, which has now plasmid containing DNA, and it is expressing this DNA. So what you will do is to assure that, to make yourself assure whether it is expressing. One way is you will check whether, if you are looking for amylase, then you will put this strain onto a starch plate, and then you will pour iodine, let it grow, and then pour iodine and see, yes, starch is broken down. And the second way you will do is a genotypic analysis. So you will rupture this E. coli cell, take out that plasmid and do the sequencing to see that, yes, this plasmid is carrying the gene of my interest, which I have transformed initially, and it is maintaining. Another factor is plasmid copy number. So you never have only one plasmid, most of the time you have 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 plasmid in that E. coli cell. So your production is very high. So this is how you are looking into a genetic stability. I think this can be useful to everybody. I think एकदम मैंने simplest possible way में समझाया. समझ में आया? नहीं आया तो फिर से पूछो.
Sir?
Yes.
So suppose we are checking, and in that the culture is continuously growing. So maybe it can happen that some E. coli lose that plasmid and some may not.
Yes. Correct. So this happens. This actually happens in a plant. So what you do is, that maintenance strain. एक मिनट में कर्ड के एग्जांपल पे आ जाता हूँ जो इजी है अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए आपके लिए. कभी कभी हमारे घर में नहीं कर्ड खराब हो जाता है. हमारा जो स्टार्टर कल्चर है, जब हमारा कर्ड की खाने बैठते हैं तो बोलते हैं नहीं यार आज स्मेल खराब आ रही है. आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ यू मस्ट हैव एक्सपीरियंस दिस सम टाइम और अदर इन अ हाउस इफ यू आर मेकिंग द कर्ड इन हाउस. So in that case, what we do, we change the starter culture. So, in a maintenance medium, if you remember the slide there, in a maintenance of that strain. So as I told you, either in a lyophilized form. So you go back to your original culture bank, and from that culture bank, you take out that strain and replace it with the existing production strain. This is how you see to it that your genetic stability is maintained. Does that make it clear, Shakti?
No, sir.
No? See, आपका क्वेश्चन एक बार फिर से पूछो तो मैं उस फॉर्म में बताऊं.
My question was like, in that rotator, the rotor, the E. coli are continuously growing. So some may lose the plasmid, some may not. Then how will we come to know?
Okay. Yeah, if that happens, no, in your pilot scale, correct. I understood. Now you might say 50% of the strain is lost. Correct. 50% of them are. Your question is this: that 50% of my culture which I put it into this tank is lost the plasmid, and 50% is only having that plasmid. So my total product formation will be very low. Is that a concern?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, yeah. In that case, this is that is precisely bringing you to a pilot scale. In that sense, you know that the culture which I have made, the equalized strain K12, if you have taken, is not a right strain, or I have to, my plasmid which I am putting into the strain is not a right kind of plasmid. It is not a stable plasmid. Or then you try to put your gene of interest into genome of direct in a genome of E. coli. So there is no question of losing, and that is what the strain improvement. So you go back to your strain improvement. You improve the strain using 3 methodologies, as I told you. You change the plasmid. You try to put the genome into your gene of interest into genome of E. coli. So this losing will be very less, and the third thing, you will use the media constituent in such a way that this plasmid doesn't get lost. Yeah, it's continuously put into the control. Now I don't want to tell you, but I don't know whether you all know lac promoter. If I put it into a lac promoter control, this plasmid expression, then and then if I keep on giving a lactose shot, it's unlikely that my plasmid will get lost. So we have to keep on seeing and keep on improving the methodology at pilot plant. We are right now at a pilot scale only, correct? As I told you, we are talking of something 50 liter and 100 liter. For an amylase kind of production, 50 and 100 is pilot scale. So there is genetic methodology you will use to improve your strain so that it doesn't lose and such accident doesn't happen, get 50% lost.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I think in that sense, I think you just start your camera, तो recording जो होता है वो हो जाए और आपके attendance लग जाए. Then I will close this class today, and tomorrow we'll do, I mean, day after tomorrow we'll do downstream processing. But let me just give me 5 minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes. See, upstream, now you all have understood, as I just take for granted. In next class, you can ask upstream. Now you have a fermenter ready. After 7 days of this fermentation, you have a whole fermenter filled up with your bacterial or fungal cell, whatever is your culture is. Your product of your interest, yeah, amylase enzyme, a lot of amylase enzyme, but this is all as a mixture. A bacterial culture is there, the other unrequired products are there, and then the fermenter broth in that your required product is there. The process of getting this required product from this fermentation broth, we'll call this as a fermentation broth. From this required product from this fermentation broth will be called as downstream processing. The word itself is very clear. Upstream process is over. It has do what it wants to do. That means it has produced the compound of your interest. In a downstream processing, we will purify that compound so we can market. एक अल्कोहल प्रोडक्शन का छोटा सा एग्जांपल देके फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम उसको एक्सपांड करेंगे. If you are in an alcohol production, what will happen? There will be yeast cells will be there, There will be unutilized carbon source, molasses will be there. There will be nitrogen source, unutilized nitrogen source, utilized nitrogen source will be there, and that is all will be, we have to harvest it through the harvest port and then process. And that process is called as downstream processing. Okay, so I think that's it. About upstream and downstream will take next class. First 5 minutes, come up with any questions on upstream. Okay. Okay. Does anybody know it is necessary to start camera for this attendance purpose? एक मिनट ऑन कर दो यार, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? I think that's fine. It will be done. Okay, I think that should be fine. Thank you for attending. Yeah. Now I'll stop the recording, considering that all the recording it must have taken whatever it's supposed to take.